Right. Oops. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Everything in here. Right. Hello everyone. Welcome in another day where I basically build project flows, MCP server to manage tasks and creating tasks for your AI projects. Basically, tool that helps you to improve the context engineering, as well as tool that will allow you build some simple workflows that are triggered through MCP. So from yesterday we got to the stage where we've got working agent nodes. The working agent nodes, this is a duplicate, so let me go back to task, fix log. Okay, so this is basically the task that I'm going to execute, and I found that I've added a new node which is called load objects, and basically this node is loading the prompt that I use to populate tasks, rules, projects, epics, and so on. So this is kind of instructions with the prompt of what is title, what is description, how it's supposed to look like. When you load it. Now it should work similar to that. So as we can type in some instructions in here, as you've seen in the previous video, if you watched the previous video, if not, I can show you basically the test workflow. Do we have anything here? Oh no, because I deleted that. So basically, if you would execute the workflow we have in here, if it went to list all the colors in the rainbow, it would actually list, I think, 7 colors that are included in the rainbow. So the agent would take that as a prompt, and it would list that 7 colors. And similar in here, we say in list 10 numbers. So let's just copy that and save the changes. I'm going to save the changes here as well, so we've got it nicely. So it would go and call this guy the test workflow, which you see in here, project flows test. And then if you see in here, we've got our test workflow. So it would basically go list the colors and then move to the next step and list 10 numbers. So basically it's trying to get head around the logic and make sure that I can build the workflows correctly. That's why we've got simple elements in here that list the colors and list numbers 1 to 10. Yesterday I've added something that's supposed to be a little bit more complicated, and namely, as we create in our project flows, I don't want to click like that, our artifacts like tasks, epics, projects, and so on, I actually use MCP tools that are listed in here. It's not showing me that. Right, why are you not showing me anything? Marketplace, okay. So this is the list of my tools. Now, the point is that all of these tools, or all of them actually, for now, are part of the ones that we're testing now. On the test, multi-phase, and actually this too. So all of them are hard-coded in those files in here. Now, I kind of don't want to do that. I want to have some base tools that, manage the entries in the databases. We've got database to store all my artifacts in here. I want to make sure that regardless of what artifact I want to build, I can create new artifact. Doesn't need to be task, it might be something else. And then I want to be able to define tools like that using basically GUID. So using basically the workflow like in here. So I can use that to define basically tool using low code, no code solution, and that should register that as a tool, and therefore I could use Codex, Claude Code to access these tools and the workflows themselves. So we are here at this stage where we've got the workflow, and we're trying to fix the fact that when I bring that extra node, it kind of breaks. It doesn't kind of execute the other two nodes, where when I would remove that node, it was executing this one and this one in a chain. So I'm trying to figure out now and solve the problem of this two. Right, let's publish that. And I ask basically Claude Code already before I started recording to go in and have a look at it. And now, technically, I can test it. So let's have a look. Okay, so interesting. This was manual try to fix it with a small prompt, but yesterday I basically created like a more proper prompt trying to explain that using the task solution. So I am going to be honest, I didn't read that very clear, but still going to execute. And while we have Claude Code working, I will basically have a look and see if all that makes sense. Right, if that doesn't work, I kind of have a different plan how to approach it. Basically, we're going to remove that node and we will start with the new node. I have some ideas how I want to basically improve that as well, because we do want to make some improvement. Hold on, look. We've got, do you approve implementation plan? Yes, I do. So I kind of like that now Claude Code is basically doing the planning, even not in planning mode, and is asking you to verify. I really like that. I think context engineering and vibe coding should, well, vibe coding should have that, and it's almost making it a little bit more like a context engineering. So I think it's a good thing. It's definitely something that I'm thinking when I'm changing the stuff within project flows, I'm going to include that. And once I will be able to finalize that bit and recreate all the tools that we currently have, I am going to move on to basically making sure that the prompt engineering is spot on each level of project, epic and task. So, what did you do? Did you kill my session? Kind of didn't. We've got update handler, a create handler. Right, I think it's testing and it's almost done. So okay, so apparently it's working. At this stage, what I will do is clear, well, and restart the MCP server. So we've got that restarted. I am going to refresh the server, and I believe we can test it now. Okay. So we got total steps. Yes, that kind of makes sense. Instruction generate. Okay. And then how many times we executed? Amazing. So it looks good. Right. Right, it's still working. So this looks good. I'm going to publish that branch and we can carry on working, but there is some stuff that I would probably want to include in there. We've got paused. I don't know, I'm not so crazy about the status in here because I don't really think the post is the right reflection. The workflow name, it kind of makes sense. Step 1 is making sense, and we've got totally 3 steps. So I can imagine that can, help a lot, with management. Instruction generate a precise action verbs, blah, 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 blah. So this is the inputs. Okay. Right. I would say that the task is done, but now I want to work a little bit more on that. So if I look at instructions, list all the colors in the rainbow. Can we actually right? So what do we have? Title and description. Right. So now I kind of want to make sure that these two work better. I'm not going to introduce any extra nodes for now, although I kind of should, and that would allow me to basically recreate some of the tools step by step, at least the create tools. It kind of makes sense. Let's leave it for now, but I want to make sure now that I can see the output. So because we've got the instruction there. I'm thinking if it's the right way. Can you investigate if now the nodes work exactly the same as, right? Can you include the output within the within the output? So basically, when I say list, when we go through each task, so let's say we use the first task, which is load object 2. I've got my instructions, and then within the output, I would like to have like results. So basically the result of the instruction. Is it possible to output the result within the output of each tool call? Or would I have to give that kind of instruction prior to execution? So basically, look at how we manage create task, and when we do create task, we basically provide the instructions as tool parameters, and that allows us to output include the process information. So when I say create task, it would basically use the parameters of the tool to instruct the agent, and then in the result of the output, I would have basically processed values for the title and description. Investigate if that is possible. Investigate if this is possible with current setup. Okay, so let's do create task to, so let's do task to investigate first. Let's have a look if this has any logic that created a task as we ask it to investigate logical agent execution result in right. Let's ask Claude this time to do it. Well, to be honest, I should have create new session. I'm going to quickly switch Claude, Shift Tab. Yes, we are in plan mode. Let's see. Okay, so task created successfully. Okay, so it kind of has done that. That's nice. Okay, so option to MCP sampling. Mm-hmm. This is interesting. Okay, so to accept optional result parameters. That kind of makes sense. Okay, so we've kind of got some explanation. And we've got two options, which, to be frank, I don't really understand clearly. Well, it's interesting that we can observe Let's have a look at what Claude Code decided to do. So investigate approach. This is analyze current architecture. Okay, fine. So, right, I don't need detailed document. I need solutions and options. To choose. Choose. Even. I think the problem is that when we've got the parameters there, they already registered as a tool. Okay, so what do we have? Okay. Ooh, so we kind of can do all of it with sampling. But okay, so right, so we do not want to involve the LLM. So option one. Okay, option one. Does it mean we need to add API key? To any LLM, or can we use current agent that is connected to the MCP server? I've got kind of strange feeling that it is what it is. current agent's LLM connection. So if I'm using Claude Code to call the tool, it will communicate with Claude Code for sampling. Okay. Okay, so uses Claude API. So how would that work actually? So it seems like something that I've been struggling with for some time. Um, okay. Plan implementation with agent node. Okay, so how do we want to do it? Let's have a look. That is interesting. That means that I can bypass a lot of flows that I thought that I actually have, because in the past I thought it's impossible for the agents to actually communicate with. Well, let's see. I've got a kind of feeling that it's too beautiful to be true, because I spent many days trying to figure out how to do it, and I kind of thought there's a lot of limitations, that it seems like these limitations were not there. But then, in the past, every time I tried to do this sort of communication, it was always saying that the workflows do not have access to the agent. They work on the server side. And then I thought I have to basically prompt and bring back the results to the agent, stop it, and then carry on the work. So it seems like this is not entirely true. So this means that I'm kind of, again, going back to the drawing board with the design of the workflows, because suddenly we probably can, rather than hit that tools multiple times, we can basically execute entire workflow. Interesting. Okay. This means that we can make the workflow you build in. Fine, you test it. I will clear that and run dev again. Okay, everything is done. I am going to test it again and see the results and if it's working or not. So we're executing test. So it's taking a little bit longer. Okay, so it's saying it's stuck. The moment of truth is taking probably a little bit too long, longer than I would hope for. Right, let's have a look if Claude can fix that. I'm kind of a little bit optimistic, although it kind of Okay. So what is option 3? Okay. So the WebSockets that we would need to use. So windsurf, MCP. Okay, find. Web. So what do we have? npx command here. We've got server URL. This is here's example configuration for an HTTP. Right. Claude code, WebSocket, MCP. Okay, so WebSocket authentication bypass. Cloud code, right.